welcome back to JE, where we actually, well, today we're gonna do something different. We're not gonna be doing the talking, but well, usually we basically just exploit the wrongdoings within the judicial system. But today we have a special host, and we got a special guest today. They're actually gonna, V is actually gonna be interviewing Sha Real. You guys can introduce yourselves to the cameras.
Hi, my name is V.
Peace, I'm Sha Real.
How y'all doing today?
We're good. Thank you for having us.
No problem. So I want you to start the interview with any questions that you have, Sha Real.
Okay.
We're going to talk about his incarceration and then just what he went through being so young in the system.
Okay. Guess I'll start it off. How's everybody doing? So I will be interviewing Sha Real today on the injustices of the judicial system of New York State and other places, basically on New York State, because Sha Real was incarcerated here for how many years, Sha Real?
27 years, give or take a couple months.
Okay. And how old were you when you were incarcerated?
I was 17 when I got incarcerated, and I got out when I was 44.
Okay. And so we're going to touch on a little bit of that today. Some of the things that he went through, some of the things he survived. I guess y'all could take this walk with us down the street. Well, not down the street, down the highway. It's a long one. From 17 to 44 is a minute. So I'm going to let you just flow and let the people know some of the things that you went through. So let's start with coming in. Walk us down how it was when you first came in.
When I first came in, I was 17. I was still actually going to high school. And I got locked up. It was my first time being incarcerated, being locked up, period. So obviously it's a shock, it's a traumatic experience, go through that first time. And then to be facing such the crimes I was facing at that time. You know, I got locked up for murder, attempt murder, assault, robberies, and stuff like that. So it was serious crimes that I was locked up for, and I was facing a lot of time. So the whole experience was traumatic. Not just getting arrested in itself was a traumatic experience, but then to be facing the charges I was facing, you know, it was traumatizing for me at that time. You know, so I had to. We was in the county jail, and I was in Riverhead, and we was on a minor tier, and it was actually, you know, quite a few people that I knew at that time on the minor tier from, you know, in the streets and stuff like that around the way. So that kind of helped in a sense. It's bad that you see people that you know and hang out with and whatever like that and knew that was locked up, but it kind of like helped to deal with the, kind of like balance it out in a sense. So I wasn't like, you know, so like thrown off, whatever like that. It helped try to like, you know, keep me grounded in a sense. I didn't just go crazy from the door.
Right.
Yeah.
So were you locked up alone? Did you have co-defendants?
I had 4 co-defendants. I had 4 co-defendants altogether. On more serious crimes, I had 3 co-defendants. He said more than that.
Okay. So you had 3 to 4 co-defendants.
No.
And you guys were all in the same age group, correct?
3 of us was. 3 of us we was 2 of us was 17, 1 was 16, and then my other co-defendant was 20.
Okay. And I'm sure they all felt the same way you did. You know, they were traumatized. How long did it take you guys to get sentenced?
From the time from arrest to sentencing was maybe a little over a year. Between getting arrested, pre-trial, trial, and sentencing was a little over a year.
Okay. And so as you guys started going out and the reality hit that you were sentenced, you guys started going out to different facilities, or how did that go?
Well, I went to trial by myself. I was the first to go to trial, and I was the first to get convicted for the case. And I got sentenced. My sentence was 40 and a half to life. I was 18 when I got sentenced, and maybe a couple months after I got sentenced, that's when they sent me upstate. They sent me upstate, went to downstate, and started going through the process of getting processed within the New York State prison system, DOCS,
Okay.
Department of Corrections.
So downstate is a correctional facility. That's the first correctional facility you went to.
Right. Downstate is like it's like intake when you get processed. So when you go to downstate and they give you, they process you to give you a state number, and that's when you officially become Department of Corrections property. When you go to downstate correctional facility.
So that was your
Like
first.
receptions.
That was reception.
Yeah.
So that was your first actual landing spot of really seeing how real it was. Is that correct?
Yeah, so there's a big difference between, say for instance, county jail in Long Island and then downstate correctional facility. So when I was in Riverhead, we had a lot of fights. It was mainly fights. We fought a lot. We had a lot of fights, fist fights. So when you get to downstate now, at that time it was like 95. It was 1995, and it was like a overflow from. There was a lot of things going on. Say for instance, Rikers Island. We had with gangs. We had the Bloods, you had the Latin Kings, all that stuff, and that was coming up north. And downstate, a lot of that was flowing over into downstate. So it was like every time you go, it was movement. You go to eat in the mess hall. Every time you go to the yard, it was cuttings. It was cuttings in the mess hall. It was cuttings. You sit next to somebody, and a person might come through and cut the person. So to go from fighting all the time to now it's like everybody's cutting. That's like a whole culture shock in itself.
Right. So what goes on in the mind of an 18-year-old young man being incarcerated for the first time in downstate when he sees the person next to him get cut?
Well, you go into survival mode. I want to make sure it ain't me that's getting cut next time.
Right.
And then also you arm up. Armed up. Like, what they cutting with? They cutting with that. All right, I'm going to get that. And so now, if it's a situation facing, I'm gonna cut somebody before they cut me. That's my whole mentality.
Right.
That it's survival mode now, straight
Right.
survival mode.
Right. Eat or be eaten. So, your next spot.
After processing and reception, my first official spot was Elmira.
Wow, that's a big jump. Now, Elmira is a big deal.
Yeah, it was a time. So a big deal. It's big. So I heard you heard songs. Who was that? It was Nas. Nas wilding on the island now in Elmira. So you hear songs and stuff like that about these prisons and jails and stuff like that, rap songs. And then to actually land there. So now this is Elmira. This is what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, did you know that's where you were going?
Nah, they don't really tell you exactly where you're going. We leave reception and just saying, you just leaving reception. So
Okay.
you end up where you end up. A lot of times they don't tell you that where you going.
And none of your co-defendants came with you. You guys all split up, or did you guys spend some time together in some of these spots?
Well, initially, I was up there by myself. It was still, like I said, I was convicted first and sentenced first and sent upstate first. So some of them were still in the county jail, still going through the judicial proceedings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about Elmira, some of the things you've seen in there, and what did you get from there to the next spot? Just kind of walk us down memory lane on your bids.
Well, so it was some people that I was in downstate with that I had built some type of rapport with. We might have played cards together, might have played basketball together, something like that. So we got kind of like a familiarity with each other, not like we friends, we comrades, but we kind of knew each other. So I seen some of them when I was in Elmira. Some of them had, they wasn't their first time incarcerated, so they kind of knew the ropes already. So they would, teach me the ropes of certain things. This is how this go, this is how that go, and so forth. So some of them was like, from a perspective of like, okay, they might have made a bad decision, and this is where they end up at, and then this is, this is how things go to try to make things easy. And some of them was like, seasoned veteran criminals in the sense where they's like, yo, this is what I do, this is how I am, and this is how you should be, and this is how this goes. So it was up to me to kind of like figure out, you know, which way was the right way to go. And initially it was the wrong way in a sense like that. It was the, you know, straight guerrilla mode. That's how I was on it. I was just straight on guerrilla mode, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So how were the guards at Elmira? How were the correctional officers at Elmira?
Elmira correctional officers at that time,
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't pay correctional officers no mind in Elmira. What I mean by is that, like, at that time, I'm more focused on, like, inmates, prisoners, and stuff like that. Right. In a sense, you know, watching their movements, you know, watching.
So you didn't have any run-ins with Elmira COs at all?
Not in Elmira, no.
Okay. Because I always heard that the COs treated the inmates worse than some of the other inmates. I always heard that the treatment was kind of terrible. So.
Well, it happens. What I'm saying is that in Elmira, at that time, when my first spot, I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on with officers. Okay. My whole thing is watching people moving around me.
Okay.
You know, like, so when as things went on, like from Elmira, I went to Auburn. So then when I went to Auburn now, at that time, then that's when I had started having run-ins with officers and stuff like that. It was more contact with the officers in Auburn than it was in Elmira.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, question. How come you kept getting switched, like, to different prisons?
All right, so you move to prisons, different prisons, due to it's various things. It could be your classification could change. It could be that you got into an incident, mm-hmm. and then now they move you out the facility and stuff like that. So majority of the times I was moved out of facilities, and also you can get moved out of facility for, say for instance, if I'm in Elmira, right, and I'm there a year, 2 years, and I didn't get no infractions, no tickets, or anything like that, I could request a transfer to a facility that's close to home. All right. So those are the main ways you get, you know, moved from facility to facility. But a lot of times my movements or transfers from facility to facility was disciplinary. Mm-hmm. I was getting into situations, fights, cutting, stabbings, and so forth. So I would go to the box, and then they'd send me to a different facility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So give me a day on a prison yard. I'm walking out. I'm this 18-year-old young man that's I'm adapting to my situation. I'm on my knucklehead time. Give me a day of what I'm walking out into the prison yard for rec. What is it looking like? Do you have certain people with certain people, certain other people hang with certain other people? Like, what does it look like if I'm walking out, just fresh to prison?
Majority of times it's clicked up. Depending how the facility is situated, like if they got like sitting areas. Majority of times the sitting areas it's like clicked up. It might be a gang. It might be based on where you from. It might be based on your nationality or your race and stuff like that. So a lot of it is like separated in a sense. You know, you got the white dudes over here. You got Brooklyn over here. You got Queens over here. You got the Bronx over here. You got Bloods over here. You got Latin Kings over here. You got Crips. You got nothing. So it's like everything is like you got upstate dudes over here. So a lot of times it's separated.
Okay.
It's like separated.
So basically everybody's stuck with what they were about.
I mean, what they were about or what they thought they were about.
What they thought they were about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you go in there, you kind of have to like choose like who you go with.
I mean,
or like they just choose for you or something.
Majority of times you're gonna go with what you know in a sense. Say for instance, you from Long Island, then you might say, "Oh, where's Long Island at?" And then a lot of times, like in facilities, when I first came up, Long Island ain't have no areas. Like, you know, Long Island wasn't really respected on a compound like that. Yeah. And I was like one of the ones that got respect from Long Island on the compounds. Like I would go say, okay, where's Long Island court, like a workout court or a sitting tables and stuff like that. Long Island ain't got none. They ain't got none. Well, we got one now. I'm taking it. So that was my mentality too. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, y'all. Because I realized is that, like I was saying, she asked like how people was built. Like some people might say they one thing, but then they not. Yeah. You know, and then I'm not saying like I was just killing all this other stuff, but I realized that a lot of dudes be fronting. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like you had people that like we had a Brooklyn court, like they had a Brooklyn court, and then you had dudes that was acting tough just because they on the Brooklyn, they was really tough. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then so that kind of like played a role too in my mentality. Is like, all right, so Long Island don't get respect, complex. You won't get respect from Long Island. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go hard from Long Island. From my, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, it wasn't even just, I'm from North Babylon. It wasn't even just the town. It was just Long Island, period. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of mentality. Took phones and all that, like, you know, just with that mentality. Mm-hmm. You know? But it's crazy that we even have to even come down to that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it's like, even like white dudes, right? So it doesn't matter. It didn't matter where you was from, in a sense. If these white dudes, they accept you, they embrace you, it didn't matter where you was from. You got the phones, the calls, they work out, y'all chill. But it's like, you know, blacks, Latinos, Spanish, people like this, it's like a lot of separatism and stuff like that. Sometimes you got to go harder just to get respected, you know?
So what, did anybody ever try to challenge when you tried to put your foot down for Long Island and where you were from and make a spot for Long Island on the map?
Yeah, you're going to have people that's going to challenge, right? But like I was saying, you have people that they put on a facade, right? So, you know, I'm big, I'm this, I'm that. But then when they see somebody is serious and willing to go to an extent that they willing to go to or even further, a lot of times they just back down. You know what? You got it.
Right.
You got it.
Right. Okay. So you went to Auburn. What was your next spot?
After Auburn, it was Green Haven.
Okay, tell me about Green Haven.
Green Haven at that time, Green Haven was different. It was closer to, I guess, New York City area, closer to home and stuff like that. But it was a lot looser, like far as movement is concerned. Like you can have on greens, you could just like find a broom somewhere, and you can walk around the whole jail with a broom. You know, it was just like, it was real loose. It was real loose. At that time, I was there. I was there about 2 or 3 weeks before I went to the box. I was in double bunk cell, and I wound up cutting, stabbing up my bunkie, and I went to the box. So I got the 2 years in the box. But even when I was there, like the first month or two I was there, about 3 or 4 people got killed. Green Haven was like, it was serious at that time. It was even different than a lot of things going on in Auburn and Elmira. But the thing is that Green Haven was a lot more open. Okay. You can do things and get away with it more than you could in like Auburn and Elmira. So it was a lot more things going on at that jail at the time.
Okay. So that situation with you and your bunkie, that was your first real deal, just getting your feet wet when you got there.
My first time getting caught, in a sense, like we was in a cell. So, you know, I did things before, but didn't get caught. So this is my first time actually getting caught and going to the box.
Okay. Alrighty. And so you were about 18, 19 then, right?
I was 19.
It was 19.
I was 19 at that time, yeah.
Okay. So they took you to the box, and what is that, Southport?
No, at the time I did it in Green Haven box. I was in the box in Green Haven.
Okay, how long did you do in the box? Tell us about the box and what goes on there.
Well, the box was at that time. So you hear stories about like people throwing stuff like. Mm-hmm. So I was in the box in Green Haven, and it was a dude up there that used to like shit in the cup and throw it on the officers and stuff like that. So I was like the first time. Yeah, the first time I kind of like heard stories like that. That's the first time I kind of like seen it. Dude throwing shit on the police.
So the police passing and they get some shit thrown on them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So also too. So at that time, Green Haven, like using a box. Like some jails you go to box. Like if you go outside the rec, you like in a, I guess you want to call it like a 1-man cage. Okay. But at that time, Green Haven was, if you go to you go outside to the yard, it's like 4 people to like a little yard at the time. Mm-hmm. So so I just started getting an understanding of like certain tactics people used to use and do and stuff like that. Because, say for instance, if I'm coming out to the yard, like the police would bang on the door. And then everybody that's out there already, 2 people, 1 people, they got to get against the wall, the farthest wall away from the door. Mm-hmm. And so when they open the door to let me out, if anybody come off the wall, they'll slam the door on me. Like, just hurry up and close it. You know, they're thinking. So I seen dudes like having beef with each other, and they'd be out in the yard first. And then when other person is coming out, they'd come off the wall quick. So the police would slam the door on the person. They knock them down, and then, they jump on them, stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so next thing. What's the worst prison that you've ever landed in? And tell us walk us through, like, some of the things you've seen, something so different that it really made you realize this is the real deal. These are the stories I've been hearing. And tell us some of the most outrageous things you've seen, from how the treatment of the prison guards I want to hear about the food, to the cellmates, to some of the people you've met in your travels, and some of the conditions.
Well, when I came upstate 95, right? So the Department of Corrections was going through, I guess, a transition at that time. That's when Governor Pataki had came in around that time.
Right.
So when he came in, like, full effect, implementing his whatever his thing he was pushing.
3-strike law, correct?
Yeah, he has. I don't know 3-strike law, but it was just his policies.
Right.
When he came in implementing his policies, a lot of things changed in the prison system. Either from the food, they took out colleges, even in like the appellate process. Less people was getting reversals on his cases. Like it seemed like when the Pataki came in, a lot of judges just started rubber stamping people's cases. Like, denied. So when he came in, his administration changed a lot of things in the prison system. A lot of things.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the intimates, were you, even though you were young and you were still trying to find yourself, did you ever think, or did you ever try and get any of your sentence reversed? Did you ever try to work on it in the earlier years?
I worked on it. I worked on it, didn't work on it. Worked on it, didn't work on it. You work on it because you understand. I don't know law.
Right.
So now I got to learn aspects of the law. Then you got people in that try to take advantage of certain people. Like, they act like they know law, and then they say, you just pay me this, pay me that, and I'm going to help you with your case and stuff like that. Right. And then they don't know what they're doing. They just getting your money. Or they could be trying to find out details of your case to try to get a deal on their case and stuff like that. So that's like scary. You don't know who to trust and stuff like that.
Right.
And then certain facilities, it's like hard to get to the law library to even work on your case and stuff like that. They have a limitation on how many people can go to the law library and stuff like that. Like, like, say for instance, the general library, where you go to get books, regular books, reading books, like a public library, is it might fit 60, 70 people can go there sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
But the law library is only 15, 20 people could fit in there. Like, what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like, yeah, when you got more, especially in a maximum facility, you got people with more time, you would think that the law library would be bigger than the entertainment regular library, the public library,
Right.
So that's an issue within itself.
So did you ever feel at any point in time that you would be where you are now, that there was something in your case that can get it, looked at, or, get your time lessened or anything like that? Did you ever feel at any point that this would happen?
Yeah and no. And I say that to say this, is that it's times where I felt that, okay, listen, I ain't never going home, because I didn't put appeals in, and it was denied and denied and denied, and then it's it's like it's like this is it. I'm stuck.
When was your first appeal denied?
No, it was 98.
98. And how'd you feel when you got that denial back?
I was shocked. I was shocked. Even though that, like I said, once the Pataki administration came in, it was a lot of denials, a lot less reversals going on in the courts. So you hear this, but you don't think it's gonna happen to you. You figure that I got a shot and I think it's gonna come through. So when it's denied, it's like you just like you stuck, you shocked. Like what I do from there.
How long is it before you find out if you are approved or denied?
Once your appeal is put in from your lawyer, and then the DA responds to it and it's heard. Usually it's within like 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
Wow, to get a denial.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got your first appeal denied?
I was 98, so I was 22.
That's still fairly young.
Yeah, 22. Yeah, I was 22.
Yeah. So once I can imagine once you got that first denial, you probably felt like you had no hope, and that you just gave it away. You wanted to wild out a little bit more.
Yeah, you felt like that. Yeah, I did it. I was wild at that time. It was 98. And I was maybe already. Let me see. I was already in like my 4th or 5th different jail. In 3 years, I was already like 4 or 5 different jails, from getting into situations and stuff like that. So I was already all in at that time anyway. And then, the appeal get denied, and then you just start thinking go all in on another level. You just turn up even more.
Right. Right. So going back to what was the worst jail that you ever landed in, that you had heard about, or basically was a reality check for you that you're here?
Probably was Attica. You heard thousands of stories.
Hear about Attica, right?
I hear about Attica, hear about Attica. I actually didn't have a hard time in Attica personally, but it was that Attica culture was shocking in a sense, because it's like, say for instance, if you're going outside to the yard, I know a lot of people don't even go out to the yard at night in Attica. I'm not going out at night because of the way the officers they like, it's a different level of bullshit at that time. Like they pull dudes over, they pull you over to search you, and next thing you know, they saying you assaulted them, and they just jumped all on you and stuff like that. So I just seen like that happen. Like that happens like every day. That happened like every day in Attica, every day. And like if I'm going to the yard and I got pulled over like to get searched, I would always hope that I got pulled over by myself. Mm-hmm. Because the thing is that, I can, I know what I'm going to do. I know how I'm going to react, how I'm going to respond. But I don't know how the next person's going to react or respond. I don't know how I'm going to react or respond to how they react or respond.
Right, to elevate, to escalate the situation.
Right, because like they say, like they, it might be somebody that they don't like and they jump on them, not right there. I don't want to see that. I don't want to go through that.
Right, right. And then you end up being a part of that. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how was it? Was it like a lot of hillbillies up there? Like, what did Attica look like? You hear so much about this prison. Like, what was it like? Was it clicked up a lot?
What do you mean?
How long did you spend there?
I was in Attica twice. The first time I was there, maybe about 2.5 years.
Okay.
First time I was there 2.5 years, and the second time I was there for like 4.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You had a cellmate there?
No, I didn't. No, after that Greenhaven situation, that cellmate thing was over.
Okay.
That thing was over. I like to be in the. If I'm gonna be in the cell, I'd rather be in the cell by myself.
Oh, so you get to pick and choose if you get a cellmate or not?
No, not actually. They'll put you in there or put you in the cell with somebody. I was just refusing.
Okay.
I was just like, nah, I'm not doing it.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
So that was like, I go to the box for that too. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So anything crazy you seen in Attica?
Of course, like I saw all type of crazy stuff in Attica. I remember one time it was actually a white dude they was beefing with. Officers, Attica, I say about like the officers in Attica, they didn't like, no matter what color you was, they didn't like rapers. So if you had like a rape case or something, molestation case, they had a thing for that. They had a thing for that and stuff like that. They didn't like people like that. It was a white dude they was beefing with, and it was like maybe like 2 a.m, and they came to his cell with like sheets on over their heads, and like was throwing like bleach and just like throwing stuff in the cell. It was crazy. I said, yo.
Oh man, he had a rape case?
Yeah, he had a rape case, but I'm saying like, you know, he know it's the officers. It's like nobody else out at this time. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know it's y'all. Yeah,
they came through like the KKK with sheets on.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh man.
Also they had it was a thing. The thing about Attica too, right? Because you know they had the big riot there in the 70s and stuff like that. And that it seemed like that jail, those officers got away with a lot of stuff there. And that was the first jail I've been to too that the officers ran the jail. What I mean by that, you go to other jails, it's like a chain of command, superintendent,
right.
You got lieutenants, captains,
so you couldn't report them,
like
they didn't get in trouble.
What do you mean?
The officers didn't get in trouble.
What I mean is like the officers, yeah, they controlled the jail. It's like the superintendent could say something, lieutenant could say something. That's a higher rank. And the officer be like, I don't give a fuck what he say. Right? In his face. Like, yeah, the officers ran the jail. They ran the jail. That was the first time I've been in jail where the officers ran the jail. They didn't care about somebody that was ranked higher than them, none of that. They didn't care about none of that. They ran the jail. You know? And they also had they had incidents where you had officers, say for instance, you got a dude that was he was gay. If the person was outright gay and stuff like that, and you had instances where officers was raping dudes. Like the officers was raping dudes that was, you know, dudes that they knew was gay and stuff like that. They was raping them. Yeah, like taking it, you know, and that was some crazy stuff. I had one dude that actually had saved the officer's semen and some shit like that and sent it out. And like I said, they had supposedly had a big investigation, federal investigation, all that came in, and nothing really came about it. It's like a lot of things, it's like they excuse a lot of things the officers did in that jail because of the history they had with that riot back in the 70s and stuff like that. They got away with a lot of stuff there, a lot of murders and all that stuff there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's people that haven't been heard from again from Attica.
Yeah, at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot through your travels.
Seen a lot, been through a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so this definitely is a wake up for the youth. It's like you can actually see what happened through your words, through your story. How do you feel now?
Well, even now, I've been home 11 months, and I'm still adjusting. I'm still adjusting because, like I was saying earlier, when I came in, so you take on a certain mindset,
right?
A certain way of doing things, and then this is your mindset for years. This is how you're doing things for years,
right?
So it just doesn't change overnight. You gotta all this training I've done to my mind and my body. It's gonna take years to untrain certain habits, certain things that I do. You know what I mean?
You have to adapt to that.
Yeah, you gotta adapt to it. You know what I mean?
Right. So let's walk into Sha Real starting to come home.
Mm-hmm.
Beginning that process. Walk us down that lane.
Well, for instance, so with family, right? Mm-hmm. Family, friends, love, and support is what kind of like used to pull me back in a sense where if I was getting like straying off too much,
right.
Like kind of like when I didn't feel no hope or none of that no more, they was the ones that instilled the hope back into me.
Okay.
You know, so I was still in and out of the box, But the thing is that when I was in population, I would do something though. I would like take a program, take a course, do something to, you know, try to take advantage of whatever times I was in population, no matter how brief it was. I would always, you know, acquire a certificate or something like that, take a class or something like that, you know. So, like when I got really started, like, you know what? I was in it was 2015, and I was in Wendy's up by Buffalo. So, you know, he having conversations with dudes I know for years and stuff like that. I'm not in the same things I was into and doing all type of stuff. So, it's like you get fed up. Like, fed up. I had just got out the box. I did like, I had 3 years in the box. I got out in 14. So I was in Wendy's for 14, 15. And it's like all the way up by Buffalo. My mom's was going through her cancer for the second time. So it was like really weighing on me. And then also, it was also weighing on me how that, you know, what I was putting my family through too. And this is 20 years in still, like, you know what I mean? Things I was putting my family through, going through the boxes, going through the fights with the police and all stuff like that. So, you know, I realized that in order to get out, in order to, you know, I guess receive and achieve blessings, I had to change my mindset.
Right.
You know, so I had to change my mindset. So it was a process, and like, you know, certain things, even though I'm still thinking the same way or I wasn't doing certain things. So I was able to refrain from like doing something that would cause me to go upside somebody's head. I might be thinking in my head going upside his head, but I wouldn't do it. I'm like, you know what? You know what I mean? I got more restraint on myself physically.
Okay.
So I was leaving Wendy's 2015. I was going back to Green Haven for the second time. It's actually closer, and I wanted to get back closer so I could see my mom, so I could see my family and stuff like that.
Right.
And I told those, and when I was leaving Wendy's, I said, listen, and this, at the time, it's like my 20-something transfer. You know what I'm saying? I was 24 years, probably my 28, 29 transfer. You know, going back and forth, jails, boxes, and stuff like that. Yeah, I was on the move. And I told dudes, I said, you know what? It's just over. I'm going to Green Haven, and I told dudes, I said, listen, that's going to be my last jail. I'm going home from that jail. And at that time, 2015, I still had 20 years left on my original sentence. So dudes like, you know, dudes that knew me was like, man, get the fuck out of here. You don't go down there.
Believe it.
You don't go down there get caught up in this rap shit and shit like that. You be back up here. You're going to get kicked out of that jail. You're going to be back up here. You know what I'm saying? So it's even now, it's like I might get calls for dudes up top. I'm still locked up. I'm like, yo, I can't believe you actually did it, Paul Malay. You actually did it. You said you was doing it, and you did it. But I was telling them, it's the mindset. You know what I'm saying? I had to change my mindset. And, you know, way I was going about doing things. Like I said, I still was thinking certain things, but I was actually doing it. So I said, you gotta make a change in order to change the conditions. You got to change the things you're doing. You can't keep doing the same things the same ways and expecting different results. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that was part of that process. And then also, like when I was in Green Haven too, 15, 16, it was the thing that I was picking up a lot of momentum too. Before I found out the issue that actually got me home, got my case reversed, it was momentum picking up with what they call like brain science. So what was determined was, and then what they said is this, is that a teenager's mind, like brain, your physical brain, it doesn't fully develop until you like in your early to mid 20s. Yeah. So it says a part of your brain called the frontal lobe, and that's a part of your brain that affects decision making. It affects how you view consequences. Like, you know, you think about consequences. These is part of your brain that affects that. So they realize that is undeveloped in a teenager's mind, and it doesn't become fully developed until you're in your 20s. You know, your early to mid 20s and stuff like that. So what they realized, you know, what they saying is that now they realizing that a person that age, especially the age I was when I got locked up, 17, shouldn't be held to the same standards that adult would be held when they do something, because they're not contemplating consequences and decision making. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, the crazy thing is that when I started really, like, researching that within the judicial system, like going back, reading cases and stuff like that, going back to the 80s and 90s and 70s and stuff like that, they knew that the whole time, though.
Wow.
You knew that the whole time.
Wow.
You could see the language in cases from the 70s and 60s that's saying the same thing that they saying that they just realizing now through actual brain science.
So
You know?
eventually you started getting very interested in law down the line to start being able to try and fight your own case.
I was always interested in certain aspects of law. Like, I've been fighting my case, not fighting my case, fighting my case, not fighting my case. What I got real good at in law initially was administrative procedures. Basically, when I go to the box for a ticket, I was able to get so good with what they call like Article 78. So I was able to get the tickets and infractions. I went to the box. I was able to get those reversed. So I was like a beast.
From inside the jail?
From inside the jail, yeah.
Wow, how'd you do that?
Just studying, figuring out. It's just a whole bunch of. A lot of times, it's like when you go to hearings, it's ways that the hearings supposed to be conducted and stuff like that. So once I realized, I studied that, the whole process of hearings and things they supposed to do, things they not supposed to do, I was able to kind of like,
So they would honor it if you fought something that they were saying in a hearing at the jail. They would actually honor it, like when you and your roommate got in a situation or something like that.
Not in the jail.
In the jail.
So you go say an officer accused me of doing something, right? So I go to it, I get a ticket, I get a hearing. The hearing is in front of somebody that works in the jail with him.
Gotcha. Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So how fair of a hearing could I get?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you saying that I did something and I'm saying I ain't do it, and he's the one holding the hearing.
Right.
That's your brother, like, yo, what you saying? He said you did it, you did it. That's it. You know what I mean? But I was able to find out how to litigate that to the courts. Because you can, you appeal it to, the Albany, central office in Albany, and then if they deny it, a lot of times they do it too, then you can take it to a court,
So what was your win rate, Sha Real? What was your win rate?
Oh, once I figured out the strategy, I figured out how to do it. Out of the last like 6, I got 5 overturned.
Wow.
Like once I figured it out, it was it. Now, but the thing is, though, I already did the time in the box. It was just be taken off my record, and then I could possibly like maybe take on a civil suit, like assume for the time I did in the box, based on if I got a reverse or not.
You said you did 2 years in the box, right?
Yeah, I did 2 years here and there, 3 years here and there, a year and a half, year here.
Wow. That's still some time, because coming out of the box, you come out once a day. Correct me if I'm wrong. For how long? Like an hour?
Hour, that's it. And then sometimes it wouldn't be that, because say for instance, like Southport is like the whole jail is like the box in a sense, and you don't have a whole bunch of clothes basically. So that's like, say for instance, it's 10 degrees, 5 degrees outside or something like that. You only can go out with one pair of pants on, no long johns, no none of that, and one sweatshirt. So how many people's going outside in that temperature? And
there's no other people outside besides you, correct?
Well, you in a cage by yourself. Like it would be individual cages. So each individual be in their own cages and stuff like that. It's a cage. It's crazy. It's an animal, but it's a cell. But it's basically a cage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you started fighting your case, and what led us to sitting beside you right here? How did that go?
Oh, so what's crazy, right? Is that so when I was in Green Haven the first time, right? When I had I told you when I went to the box, I was there for a couple weeks. I went to the box. I was working on my case. I was reading my transcripts, right? And like I came across something in my transcripts that didn't seem right. and I wrote like a little mark on it, like a little note on it. But I was thinking it was like one thing, and it wasn't. So when I found out it wasn't what I thought it was, I just like dismissed it, like, you know what I'm saying? So then now that was 1996. So now 2018, I think it was 2018. I was in the law library in Green Haven, and I was actually looking for something else that I thought was something else, and what I thought it was at that time. So I was stressed out, and I was like going through it again. You know what I mean? And then I was waiting to talk to somebody, and I overheard what they was already talking about. They having a conversation and stuff like that. So I heard what they were saying. I was like, yo, what he was just talking about? He was like, nah, you know, it's an issue called a Rama issue, dealing with like jury notes and stuff like that. Boom, boom. So I was like, hey, hold up. I just happened to have some of my transcripts with me in the law library at that time. So, you know, I asked the dude to look at it. And he said, yo, you got that issue. Right? And not only did I have the issue, it was the same place that I marked in 96.
Wow. So you weren't wrong.
I was wrong what I thought it was at that time, but I was right when I thought it was something. You know? It's crazy. It's crazy. And then when I got it, put it into the courts, the district attorney really didn't even oppose it. They was like, yo, he right. Right? So I wound up getting ineffective assistance of appellate counsel, because the thing is that my appeal was heard and litigated in 1998. So this case was a Court of Appeals case, which is the highest case in New York State, and it's a case from 1991. So now this is my appeal was 7 years later. They said there's no way that my lawyer, my appellate lawyer, shouldn't have seen that issue. Shouldn't have known that was, you understand what I'm saying? So it just tell you how, like, I had the legal aid for Suffolk County, doing my appeal, appellate division, appellate unit, and I tell you too how not only sometimes that you know how bad the system is, like, you know, for the judicial system is, but also a person that you'll put your trust in, your lawyer, be working with the system. You understand what I'm saying? Because
if this was noticed a little bit earlier, a lot earlier, you would have been out.
I'd have been home 20 years ago, 27 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the court's like, yo, there's no way that your lawyer
miscarriage of justice.
Your lawyer shouldn't see that. And then that gets even deeper, though, because when I go to, so now the appellate division reversed my case. So I go back down to Yaphank. They brought me down to Yaphank. I was first time down there. I was in Riverhead before. They brought me down to Yaphank. And so I go to court. First time I go to court, and I find out that my judge was the second prosecutor on my case.
From years ago, from when you first
When I got locked
sentenced.
up, he was like an assistant district attorney working on convicting me. And now 26 and a half, almost 27 years later, I'm in front of him. He's a judge now. Because he's telling me, I didn't even know this. He's telling me, like, yeah, I know all about your case. I was bothered about it. So I'm looking at my lawyer. I'm like,
Isn't that a conflict of interest?
it's a conflict of interest that I didn't even pursue, for the simple fact is that I wanted to get out of jail.
You were
I wanted
tired.
to be with my family.
You was tired.
So the when the court reversed it, it was two options. It was either a retrial, I go to trial again, or take a plea. So the plea was that I would plead to a less offense, and I would walk out that day. I didn't have to tell nobody, no give nobody up or nothing like that. I'll just say, yo, listen, I'll accept the plea and I'll get out that day. And I went home that day.
How'd you feel walking out? Was all your family there?
They was there. My family was there. My son was there. That was my first time actually seeing my son outside of prison. I was locked up when my son was born. So it was like, it was surreal in a sense, you know. I walked out, and you know, I know people that under the circumstances they cry. I didn't even cry. I guess was just so shocked.
You was
Just
in
so shocked that, you know what I'm saying, I'm out. It's go
shock.
time, yeah.
You know? So what would you tell the young man you were back then today? What advice would you have for him?
Young man, what, in prison?
What would you tell the young man that got locked up that's going down, you know, the same path at 17? What would the you today tell that young man? The man that you are today tell that young man? It could be any of these young men.
No, I'm talking about like, because you're saying young, so, you know, because like, the things that, like my prison experience, like the fight, like it was what it was in a sense. It's like what you not makes you who you are in a sense, right? So now, but before prison, right? I had a lot of opportunities, right? I played basketball, played football. I had D1 scholarships and stuff like that, and I was getting into a lot of things that I didn't need to get into and that I shouldn't have got into. I kind of like started shying away from positive influences. People that would say, yo, don't do this, don't do that. I felt myself before I got locked up straying away from these individuals. Like I see them and just like go the other way and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, when you're young though, you don't like I say, you don't look at consequences of your actions, how you would when you become an adult or become more conscious of certain things.
Right.
But even like looking back, it's like the things that people was telling me, it wasn't because they was trying to control me or they wanted me to be this and that. It was for my own good.
Right.
It was for my own good. And it's like, you know, it could be something simple like, yo, get a job or something like that. What I look like, get a job. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, getting the complex ego is like, but, you know, and then it's like, it's cool to be tough. It's not cool to be A student. You know what I'm saying? I look back now, it's like, yo, you could be, you know, an A student and still be super cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? That don't, you know what I mean? How you act physically or whatever like that doesn't judge, you know, or doesn't have effect on who you are as an individual, like a quality of person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. I was told, correct me if I'm wrong, that you were in a documentary, basically about growing up in prison with one of the actors from The Wire. Like, so you basically grew up in prison, which you did.
Yeah, I was in it. It was called Raised in the System.
Raised in the System. It was like an HBO special, right?
Yeah, it was an HBO and I forgot the other thing it was called. HBO and I forgot the name of the other thing.
Okay,
yeah.
How was that? Which prison were you in?
I was in Greenhaven at that time. I was in
Greenhaven.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I seen you on that special.
You seen me?
Yeah, I did. How many years ago was that?
That was I think 2017. I think it was 17 or 18. It was.
Okay.
Yeah, but part of that too, like even like, you know what's crazy, right? It's like I was saying earlier about as far as like how they was treating juvenile. Say for instance, I got locked up at 17. I was a kid, right? I technically couldn't vote. I couldn't buy liquor. Like I couldn't buy cigarettes if I smoked like legally. But you would charge me as an adult for a crime. Right. You know what I'm saying? So like even like we was in Riverhead, we was on a minor tier, 16, 17 years old. You know, they saw at that time it was smoking in the county jail. You could buy cigarettes, whatever like that, but they wouldn't let you buy cigarettes if you wasn't 18. You got to be 18 to buy a bag of cigarettes. So you're saying that
sentence you like a 18-year-old.
Right. You could say that I'm
old enough to get that sentence.
Right, old enough to get that sentence, but I'm not old enough to buy a pack of cigarettes or buy a beer.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. You know.
Right. I think you've brought to light as well that you know how fucked up the judicial system is when it comes to like these legal aids are getting on these cases and they're just like, oh, he's just another black guy and they throwing him in there and not overlooking your case. It could have been a technicality somewhere, in which it was, and it was found after you spending 20 years in prison. And that's just awful. And I'm sure so many other people that sit there and that are going through the same thing, and they just don't have the knowledge or the or the help to look through their transcripts and basically find out things like that. I just think that's very awful. But I'm glad to have you home, and I'm glad that you had a supportive family. It seems like you come from a very good background and upbringing, and I think that anything can change in your life. I mean, I understand that you've been going a very long time, but I think that, just like it took that time to, get the bad things going, the good things will come back. And I think that everything will be going, fine with you. I think everything will be good.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, having the support that I have was even helping me with, getting back, into society in a sense, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right. That's a major adjustment.
Yeah, it's an adjustment period. So, it's the people around you that love you and support you that basically helps that transition, helps with that transition period. And
Right.
it's still, sometimes I'll be in my own head about a lot of things, so I still have to unlearn or untrain, certain habits that I picked up or certain mindsets that I picked up in
Right.
prison. You just don't shake it like that. You just don't get out of jail after 27 years, just shake the jail, within a year. It's a process,
Right. Right.
So what I'm doing is tools that I'm also trying to stay connected with certain people and organizations and stuff like that. So one of the lawyers that helped me get my case overturned too, as far as putting it in the court and representing me, works at Cooney Law School in Long Island City.
Okay.
So they do a lot of advocacy there too, and they got a professor there, Professor Stephen Ziman. He's like one of the big advocates of that juvenile justice thing I was telling you about, because it's crazy how even once they realize, now they're saying that they actually realize that about the brain science, right? They still didn't do anything to correct the sentences of people that was sentenced as adults when they was kids.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? So now you got people that been in jail 20, 30 years since they was 16, 17 years old. And now you saying that you realize the brain science that, they wasn't acting as adults, they wasn't thinking about what they were doing and stuff like that, and they shouldn't be held accountable. But you're not doing that with their sentences.
Right.
They got 50, 60, 70 years in
Yeah,
prison.
and if the mind isn't
you're not
fully
doing that with their
developed.
sentences. You're not going back resentencing them or none of that. You ain't letting them out of prison or nothing like that.
They need to definitely do something about that, especially if it's been figured out that that's the issue. If the mind is not totally developed, then you can't do that. They definitely need to go back and revisit that situation.
Another thing they doing, they starting to do now, and when I thought about it, especially when I was running around, still on some bullshit in a sense, it was putting cameras in jails and stuff like that, in the hallways and stuff like that, because I'm doing stuff I don't want to be put on camera, seen like that, but it might be useful in certain jails, like you got a lot of jails, when I was in Green Haven, you got a lot of officers there that say, for instance, if I get a package or something like that, right, you send me a pair of sneakers or something like that, and they cost too much. They not allowable or something like that. You send me some Yeezys or something like that, say some whatever, and they say, well, you can't get these. They cost too much, right?
That's actually that happened to me before. I tried to send some shoes to Nick, and he couldn't get them because they cost so much.
They cost too much, right? So listen, so this is what they do, right? So they tell a person, you send them to me. I can't get them. They too much. They tell me, you listen, we got to do something with them. So I said, I'm sending them back home. Send them back to you. Send it to me, right? So, all right, cool, boom. Now you'll get the box. I send it. They put it in a box and send it home. So they whatever. You send me Air Force, some Air Ones or something like that, some Jordans or Jens, and then by the time you get the box get to you, it'd be a pair of $10 skips. they might steal the sneakers you gave me, you sent to me, and put another pair of sneakers in the box and send them home. The police be stealing people's stuff and all that.
The COs.
The COs, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually heard that a lot of the COs that work there, even some of our own black people, are some of the nastiest.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Some of the women.
I don't want to really, because the thing is, people need jobs. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I understand it, but
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I would rather be like in a facility where it's racist white officers than some of the facilities that got a lot of black and Latino officers, because they
Wow.
act straight crazy. Like, you know what I mean? They be acting like straight crazy, and that's sad. It's sad, Like, you.
Like, what are they on? Power trips or something like
They
that?
power tripping, like, say for instance, like, they use that platform to try to get one up on a person. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But that's crazy because everybody has a person in their family that has been incarcerated. Or you could have a child that can get incarcerated, or a sibling, or anything. So I don't understand why they would come to work like that.
Man, they come to work with all their baggage. I've seen women come to work and wilding out on dudes for no reason to find out she broke up with her man the night before. She come to work with all that baggage, just taking it out on people at work. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was talking to a dude the other day. He mentioned somebody that I was locked up. I was in Greenhaven with. He's like, yo, you remember such and such? And dude's like, yo, because he went to the box because he wound up punching a female officer in the face, like knocked out. So dude's like, yo, how you gonna hit a woman and stuff like that? You know how some dudes look at it like, yo, she was wilding out, like she was violating dudes. You was violating.
Wow.
Violating. So now you violating, you ain't looking at it as a man or woman violating. You violating.
And doing it because they know they can get away with it.
They get away with it.
Can't be a woman putting your hands on a man either.
Then sometimes, they get away with it, so it's somebody that don't care. You know what?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So you knocked her out, knocked a man out. They worked there too, so,
Unbelievable.
Yeah, they need to really like overhaul the correctional officers and stuff like that. And I'm not just talking about race wise. I'm just talking about in general. They need their training is terrible. Like, they don't know how to respond to certain situations, how to handle themselves professionally.
Wow.
Professionally, I think when they go to academies or whatever like that, they just teach them how to subdue inmates or whatever like that, how to spraying with the mace now and all other stuff like that, as opposed to how to act in a professional manner where you don't exasperate the situation. Like, you got to, somebody's upset and then the officer's like, yo, man, fuck that, take it on the hop or something like that. How you telling me to take it on the hop? I'm in jail for shooting the block up. You telling me some stupid shit like this. What you talking to? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, dude, yeah, but so, they gotta, they need to do their training better. Teach them how to be more professional and how to handle situations more instead of, basically putting gas on the fire. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, the training is terrible. So now you stuck in a system that already done jerked you on your appeal and all this other stuff. Went through all this stuff. You done got all this time, and then you in jail and you got to deal with even more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, from officers. You know what I'm saying, like
Risking catching another charge.
Yeah, catching more time. More time. Right now, I'm trying to get certain things taken off my record from cases in jail. You know what I'm saying? So, some things build up, and then sometimes the person be like, yo, well, they'll look at the effect and they don't look at the cause. You know what I'm saying? You look at the effect instead of the cause and stuff like that. A lot of things go on in jail and see, oh, he acted like this, he acted like that, but what caused them to act like that, though? What was going on inside that jail that made them act like that?
Right. Every action has a reaction.
You're already struggling. Your family is struggling to support you, send you money or food, whatever like that, or clothing, and then you got an officer that make probably more than the person that's sending you the stuff, and they stealing it. They stealing it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you stealing my sneakers. You stealing my shirt. Like, you serious?
They treat you different just because you in jail.
You in jail. You know what I mean? So, and they don't know that, like, that builds up. Even if you, like, a person that's not wild, like, you ain't, you know what I mean, you calm, whatever. After that, after a while, though, it's going to take effect on you. gonna take effect on you. Like they bullying you. Like after a while, you gonna respond. They back you into a corner.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Well, it's good to have you home, and we thank you for walking us down, your personal life from 17 to 44.
Yeah.
And you're out here, and great things about to take place in your life, and it's on to new beginnings. And I thank you for sharing with the youth. They definitely will get something from your story. I know we all did here. It was very interesting, and definitely some things in the system that are broken that needs to be straightened out. You touched on a lot of things that were valuable, like the brain system of a youth not being fully developed until he's in his mid-20s. That's definitely a big deal that needs to be looked at. So many kids is locked up, and they just sitting there. And some of the things that also went on with your case that exonerated you. So we thank you for coming through. Happy to have you, and that's what this show is about, Judicial Exploits. And thank you guys for having us.
No problem. And I just have a question for both of y'all. Like, what advice would you like to give to the youth that's like watching, the subscribers? Like, what would you tell them?
I would tell the youth, me personally, from the interview in Sha Real, it was a great interview. Take heed to his story, and don't never give up hope on yourself. I'm sure it's plenty of days that he didn't think that he would be sitting right here. This is called believing in yourself and not giving up. To the families that have someone incarcerated, stick behind them. Their lights are not always blown out. Try to stick behind them as much as you can. You never know what one positive word or gesture or being there for somebody who lost hope could mean. So I would say, as a mother of two young men myself, 19 and 25, that this is definitely valuable. Growing up in the prison system is no joke. The things you hear about, he's telling you. You're hearing about what happens if you out here and you can be 18 and you smack a girl on the butt that may look 18 and she ain't 18, and you get to court and it turns into a rape charge. You in there having to deal with those COs now. You know what I'm saying? It gets real very quick. As this man said, you grow up very quickly in prison. What you are out here, you really got to prove that you're that there, or they're going to make you prove it. So I think any young man or any young woman that's watching this, from 17 and under to up, it's a valuable message in what he's saying. This is definitely a valuable person sitting here to our youth, and he definitely needed to be exonerated to, instill something in the youth out here and show them, this is what I went through, but I survived it. Because there's a lot of people that don't make it to where he's at. It's a lot of people that never made it out. I'm sure he can vouch and say, I have friends that wanted to come home. Everybody wanted to come home, and they just never made it. They gave up. Some people give up and lose hope. And I'm sure it's times he felt like that. So, again, we thank you for being here. It was valuable. I'll never forget this interview. It was a valuable interview. I learned some things. And, best wishes to you and your family.
Yeah, I want to definitely write. So I'm gonna tell people it's never too late to change, right? Even when you're young, you could be when I was going through this stuff at 16, 17 years old, right? So now I felt so entrapped in what I was doing that I didn't feel felt like I was it was too late for me to go back, in a sense. All right, I'm in the streets, so it's I can't really, and I was, in a sense too, I was straddling the fence. I'm still in school, one foot in school, one foot in the streets. So now, when, say for instance, people around you see you a certain way, so now you might get an epiphany. You might not want to be that way no more. You might want to change and do something else, but you thinking about how they gonna look at you. They ain't the same dude no more, whatever like that. So sometimes people be afraid to change because of how they think people going to look at them or perceive them. You know, so it's never, as long as you breathing, it's never too late for you to say, you know what, this ain't no good for me no more. Let me try this. Let me do this, right? Because like everybody was caught up sometime in the street image, the street side, and all other stuff. So what's your goal though? What is your goal? What are you trying to end up? What do you see yourself? You know, you got kids. How would your kids look at you? You know what I'm saying? Say for instance, if you know what, I ain't going to school no more. You know, you drop out of school, you young, and you got a little kid, and then now the kid come to you like, yo, daddy, can you help me with my homework? And you can't help him with your homework because you didn't finish school yourself. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to think about these things. We got to think about these things. We got to be more conscious about what we do, and not only what we do, but why we do it. Why we do it, man. It ain't nothing wrong with, you know, or being on an honor roll, being an honor student. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with, yo, instead of going to the party, whatever like that, I'm going to go and I'm going to train because I want to get this, you know, I want to play football at a higher level. I want to get scholarships. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times it's peer pressure. That's one thing I'm getting, like, a lot of times youths get caught up in peer pressure. So what I'm saying is that just, you know, avoid the peer pressure. If you got dreams, you got goals, you got aspirations, you know, stick with it. You know what I'm saying? And now if the people that surround you is not supporting that, then that should tell you that they not a person that you should be around. They not for you. You know what I'm saying? Surround yourself with people of like minds, like goals, like aspirations, and with genuine love for you.
That's right.
You know?
I also want to add something too. What I would like to say is that try to like gain as much knowledge like on the judicial system as well. So it's like if you ever find yourself in a situation, it's like you can get yourself out sooner than what it can be to like, feel me, like prevent what happened to you. You're not saying that you didn't know the mistake, but like say if you just gain like a lot more knowledge than actually knew. Like say for example, you said the law library was closed, or like
limited spacing and stuff like that. Yeah.
Like if you were able to gain access to that a lot sooner, maybe it would have turned out different. So I just to say try to gain as much knowledge as you can, and another thing too is to check out my mother has that she has like a business, basically it's called Paint and Bond, and what we do is it's like an outdoor festival that encourages like families of all races, like children and then the parents to come out and basically bond through art. So if you want to check out that, it's gonna be a link in the bio, and also I want you guys to subscribe and hit the notifications to make sure you're here whenever we upload. And I want to thank my guests for coming. It was a great episode. I want to see y'all in the next one.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
All right.